Every year, during the month of June, the LGBT community celebrates in several different ways. Across the globe, various events are held during this special month as a way of recognizing the influence of LGBT people around the world. Why was June chosen? Because it is when the Stonewall Riots took place way back in 1969. Pride Day is celebrated on June 28th. The day marks the day in history when the first Pride March was held in New York in 1970. How different communities celebrate Pride varies throughout June. As well as being a month-long celebration, Pride Month is also an opportunity to peacefully protest and raise political awareness of the community. Parades are a prominent feature of the Pride Month, and there are many street parties, community events, poetry readings, public speaking, and street festivals, which are covered by mainstream media and attract millions of participants. The New York Pride Parade is one of the largest and most well-known Pride parades, with an estimated 500,000 people participating in it by the time it reached its 25th anniversary. It was joined with over 2 million people in 2019. Pride Month is also important because it is the start of the huge change within the LGBT+ community, as well as the wider societal implications that it has. Although attitudes and injustice still remain, we have come a long way since the riots of 1969. And by continuing in this tradition, we continue to raise the awareness, improve the attitudes of society, and encourage inclusiveness. What were the Stonewall Riots? The Stonewall Uprising occurred on June 28, 1969, and it was a tipping point for the gay liberation movement in the United States. The riots were prompted by a raid that took place during the early morning at StoneWall Inn, a gay club and refuge for many in the LGBTQ community in Greenwich Village, Manhattan. The LGBT community held a series of spontaneous and often violent demonstrations to protest against the raid and call for the establishment of places where gays and lesbians could go and seek refuge. In such places, there should be no fear of being arrested. The riots catalyzed the rights of LGBTQ people, and within 6 months, 2 gay and lesbian groups were found in New York. A year later, on June 28, thousands of people marched into Stonewall Inn and what was known as the Christopher Street Liberation Day, marking what is now recognized as the nation's first gay pride parade. Since 1970, LGBTQ+ people and allies have continued to gather round annually on June to march and show their pride. What is LGBT or gay pride? It is a movement that celebrates sexual diversity. For lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people, it is a way of protesting against the discrimination and violence that they have faced. It promotes their dignity, equal rights, and self-affirmation, and is a way of increasing society's awareness about them. Who started the June celebration? Known as the Mother of Pride, Brenda Howard, who coordinated the first LGBT Pride March, as well as sparking the idea for the events of Pride Day. These events then developed into the annual LGBT celebrations held every June. About the Pride flag. Speaking of the rainbow flag, it was gay politician Harvey Milk who assigned Gilbert Baker to design an all-encompassing signal to take to San Francisco's Pride March in 1978. At that time, the flag consisted of 8 stripes. When is LGBT History Month? Well, the month is celebrated in October. LGBT History Month was created in 1994 by Rodney Wilson, a high school teacher in Missouri. In 1995, a resolution was passed by the General Assembly of the National Education Association, including LGBT History Month within a list of commemorative months. October was selected to coincide with the month of National Coming Out Day, October 11th, which was already established, and the anniversary of the first March on Washington for gay and lesbian rights in 1979. 5 ways Pride is celebrated around the world. Tel Aviv. The Tel Aviv Pride is celebrated, and it is one of the biggest LGBTQ+ community events in the Middle East. London. Visiting the stomping ground of Oscarville and Boy George, where the parade will take you on a tour of Piccadilly Circus, Lower Regent Street, and Trafalgar Square. Taipei. Taipei is billed as Asia's biggest and largest LGBTQ+ event, even more of a celebration now since Taiwan's parliament passed a bill recognizing same-sex marriage. Berlin. The German capital's pride, technically called Christopher Street Day to pay homage to the Stonewall Riots and New York City's key role in gay rights movements, attracts up to 500,000 people. Reykjavik, the Icelandic city, has been celebrating LGBTQ plus diversity since 1999 with an event house swelling up to a 10-day celebration.